Some good old-fashioned right-wing infighting. So there is some new drama going on between Laura Loomer and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I'm sure most of you know Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I'm sure most of you know at this point know Laura Loomer, but just in case you don't, she is best known as the conspiracy theorist that is traveling with Donald Trump, or maybe was traveling with him. So we will get to this drama. I'm also going to get to a new conspiracy theorist that is or conspiracy theory that is dropped from the right about Hurricane Helene, which somewhat relates to this story. So watch for how insane these people are. But so you may or may not remember that about a month ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene called far-right activist Laura Loomer's rhetoric huge problem that, in her mind, doesn't represent MAGA, even though it clearly did. Laura Loomer tweeted something out that was clearly racist against Kamala Harris, and Taylor Greene came out to criticize that, not because she cared about the racism, but because she cared about how close Laura Loomer was getting to Donald Trump. So I broke that all down in a video back then. I'll link to below the video. But this is the new drama now. So Laura Loomer tweeting out, 15 people have died in Georgia during Hurricane Helene, and the state of Georgia is experiencing massive flooding. Instead of being in Georgia to help the people of her state, Marjorie Taylor Greene blew them off and decided to go to the football game in Alabama yesterday instead. It speaks volumes to her lack of focus as a congresswoman, and it really shows that she is more interested in fanfare as opposed to helping people in her state. Gross negligence from a woman who is unfit to serve. Prayers to all who have been affected by Hurricane Helene. Now, there is something incredible about this criticism, because here is the post that Marjorie Taylor Greene shared about her being at the football game here, saying, a man of the people, President Trump? Why is she mentioning President Trump? Because she was at the football game with Donald Trump. So Laura Loomer calling out Marjorie Taylor Greene, but failing to mention that she was with Donald Trump, who also wasn't in Georgia or near any of the affected areas of the hurricane. Interesting. So it's not clear if Laura Loomer has actually been forced to, or I should say has been maybe asked to not hang around too much anymore, because back when Laura Loomer made headlines after her little spat with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump apparently tried to distance himself from the toxic 9/11 truther. So it is interesting that Laura Loomer was traveling with Trump back then in early September and was not at this football game with these two. This entire fight doesn't seem to have to do anything with policy, anything to do with actually caring about the impact of the hurricane. It's purely about their own egos. And I guess jealousy in who is getting to spend more time with Donald Trump. It is incredibly sad, though, not surprising. Here is a post about the hurricane from Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, imagine walking through your town and seeing this. What if that was where you worked or your business? Pray for all of those affected by Hurricane Helene. So all people like Taylor Greene have, all these lawmakers, these right-wing lawmakers have for anybody affected is prayers. Because they don't believe in actually doing anything about what is causing all these mass weather events, be it Hurricane Helene or others, because they don't believe in the climate crisis. So I'm going to link this below the video. More Perfect Union has a great breakdown. This video is actually from January, but it's a renewed reminder about what the problem is here. Climate disasters like Hurricane Helene aren't natural. They're crimes. Big Oil has known for over 50 years that oil and gas pose a huge danger to the climate. They covered it up to keep raking in profits. So again, I'll link to this video below. But this is the right-wing conspiracy now that is... let me just show you. So Matt Wallace here, who, we'll get to him in a second, says, don't worry, guys. Weather modification isn't real. We're already getting started. It's just a coincidence that Hurricane Helene is one of the most devastating inland damage storms in history, and that hundreds of pro-Trump counties are being massively impacted during the most important election of our lifetimes. Obviously, the elites would never be evil enough to create hurricanes designed to interfere with democracy. Pay no attention to the storms currently brewing in the Atlantic either. You can ask any mainstream scientist, and they will tell you that it isn't even possible to create those or target them at certain areas. Just stay silent. No need to vote or expose anything. You wouldn't want to be called a conspiracy theorist, right? Couldn't have that, so please ignore your own eyes and don't share this post or investigate further. Clearly implying that this hurricane was created by Democrats to hit pro-Trump counties. Now you may think, oh, this is some idiot, some random Twitter guy, whatever. Matt Wallace has 2.1 million followers on Twitter. This post, 30,000 likes. Twitter is, I'm telling you, unless you're in the news gathering business like me, where you need to know what's going on, there is no reason to be on Twitter. It is insane. So this is another example of the kind of lunacy this guy has tweeted out. Urgent alert, they're lying to us about the biolab fire. So in other posts, he connects this to Democrats causing this biolab fire so close to the election for some reason. One problem. The fire is not at a biolab, but at a warehouse owned by a company called Biolab. It's just, oh my God. This is the only good thing about Twitter, actually, is that occasionally things are actually corrected through community notes. So it's not Twitter itself, it's community people in the Twitter community going in and adding context to ridiculous tweets like this. But it's just the kinds of rabbit holes these people get down. So to be clear, this was a Georgia chemical lab fire that prompted evacuations. And this is, so the incident at its facility, which is called Biolab, no injuries among employees were reported. Yet somehow anything happening must be connected to Democrats trying to cause these disasters to somehow impact voters in the election. It is so bizarre. And on the point about we're in hurricane season. Like this idea that, oh, these storms are brewing in the Atlantic only because of the election coming up, and not that this happens every year, but it's happening to a greater degree with larger storms fueled by the climate crisis. Like, all of this is just, it's so weird. I also don't think, look, I don't know Matt Wallace at all, but I have a hard time believing people like this, these influencers that are, part of generating this garbage, that they even believe any of this. It's just a way for them to make a lot of money, get a lot of attention, clearly, because this guy has over 2 million followers. So his stuff's on Rumble. I imagine because YouTube, even they have standards, even though, they come after me for criticizing Israel. I imagine they wouldn't allow this, though. This is a bit too far. So bizarre stuff, but it is, it's always fun to check in on the right wing and their infighting.